Okay, we're back with Mr. Ricardo Cuervo. Thank you for coming back to sit down for another interview. And today I wanted to focus on the intersection of the oil business, blockchain, NFTs, and crypto. I know you have a few thoughts about that, and I wanted to get you to share with our audience.
Thank you very much for the invitation again, Morris, and thank you for the interview. Yeah, for sure.
Perfect.
The progress that we're getting is very interesting, especially because the oil industry is always looking for transparency and to be able to track all the transactions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where blockchain fell right into it.
Okay.
Okay, it's one of the main technologies that's going to be hitting the industry very soon for things like contracts, right? Where you're going to be able to assign a particular blockchain to them to be able to track them. Usually the industry is all about selling their products, so be able to track the product from where it be the well, if you're going to be selling an oil barrel, or if it goes into the refinery and then coming out of several products, to be able to track down whatever you're selling, assigning them blockchain particularly to each of the products. And then there is another intersection, which is, it is an industry that has a lot of sensors. You need to sense so many variables throughout the production, and that makes easy to track down the product that is being produced, whether it be oil or gas, the sensing. And there's another technology that comes in and intersects again or helps here, which is machine learning, right? Internet of Things. So when you combine the product, the need that you are transparent, that you track the amount or the volume or whatever it is the variable, to be unique with the big amount of sensing technology that's been around that makes it even commercially viable, because you need to track the production, in real time, combined with machine learning. So you have an excellent industry where you can actually start to track with blockchain. And that's also where another technology that we're seeing emerging here, which is the NFTs, the non-fungible token. Yes.
Okay, that was great. So now let's pivot into NFTs and how you see NFTs and where they can help the industry move into the new digital age.
Okay, that's an excellent point, Morrison. Thanks for the question. In my personal belief, one of the technologies that are coming out on the crypto side and the Web 3.0 development and all of that, I think that will have a big application in engineering, and the oil industry itself is NFTs, non-fungible tokens. NFTs are a crossroads with blockchain to be able to map any token, right? But particularly the non-fungible tokens. So one area that I believe will evolve into that is the engineering designs for like particular either machines or processes or tools that you design.
Can you give me a specific example?
Well, yes, one typical piece that you have in the industry is a separator. The main design has been existing forever, I don't know, 70, 80, 90 years old.
And what does it do? Separate?
It separates oil, gas, and water.
Okay.
So those are, and it's the most typical piece of equipment that you're gonna find in any facility all over the world. But when you do a particular design that is changing this separation technology, say you add on into the regular separator or whatever, you can take the design, the drawings and everything, and they become an NFT, a non-fungible token. And then you'll be able to exchange it with someone else who's gonna build that piece of equipment or modify the equipment in a certain way as per your own design. And you can actually track where it goes by assigning a blockchain number and an NFT, so you can actually trade it.
Right.
And that will happen for many pieces of equipment, particular tools, even processes and special designs. And having these NFTs blockchain assign them a particular singularity, so you can always recognize and follow where your process is going and where is it applied, and if the application is correct, and it will always refer to the initial drawing or the initial design or the initial process documentation that you set up for that particular thing. So far I'm not aware of anything that is going out NFT similar, but that would be very successful to start up. Even there are trade in place where you can trade NFTs, but currently are like drawings or particular like pictures or songs. So eventually we'll go into drawing designs, engineering processes and design that will go into trading in between companies all over the world, and that would be one way to spread your technology within a transparency and be able to actually follow up where it goes.
Interesting. Well, it's been my experience that the oil and gas industry is very slow to adopt change. Do you see this actually ever coming to pass? Because ultimately it's a very interesting idea, but again, the time that it takes in order for the industry to adopt new technologies, do you think that's even reasonable?
Well, the industry is capable of taking a lot of new technologies quickly, especially if they bring stuff like transparency, or you're going to improve cost, or you're going to facilitate designs to go across countries or continents. That would help a lot. And usually that happens because in the oil industry, out of many industries, is one industry that has multinational companies that work in 4, 5, 10 countries, and they tend to standardize into one thing. So the moment they adopt an NFT or any particular technology, they tend to reproduce into the other countries where they're working for, especially if it brings swiftness or economy or just simply a better way to handle things. So any improvement that is tangible, that you can bring into the industry is gonna accept it very quick. So, I don't see why not. It will spread out quick.
All right, interesting. So now let's pivot into crypto. And as a person who has been in the industry your entire professional career, how do you see crypto helping the industry grow and I guess become more transparent or just be more adopted?
Well, what's funny about crypto is lately being a non-fiat crypto, you have many currencies. In the past, when you do exchanges, it started with salt, and now then, that's where the word salary comes from, right? So in the case of the oil, the main currency, the main commodity is the oil barrel, right? So the oil, and once you produce this big amount or any amount of barrels, you can turn it into a cryptocurrency. There has been a trial already in Venezuela when they had these many issues throughout the sanctions and everything. They created this cryptocurrency called Petro that at the very end failed because the lack of confidence in the currency, right? But that doesn't mean that other countries or other places can turn the oil barrel into a cryptocurrency and then start it to use. The same case for the gas, and several commodities are out there, and crypto, it makes it very easy to exchange and move around, even better than the non-fiat, than the fiat currencies. Okay, so for sure, I believe the industry is gonna evolve into adopt some kind of crypto currency or crypto design. So right now there are many trials. There's not a clear tendency that would say, okay, the next one is gonna come the oil D or whatever, oil digital or whatever is name you can put on it. But for sure it's gonna evolve into that.
Well, I see like right now the BRICS countries kind of moving away or trying to move away. There's a suggestion that they're trying to move away from the US dollar because exactly that, the sanctions. So with that said, you haven't seen any other movement with regards to like maybe Iran or Russia moving towards that kind of crypto, or where they can actually all trust each other's dollar, because again, nobody wants to necessarily exchange things in rubles because of the fluctuation of the currency. So, is there any other example that you may know of?
Well, the Chinese are using the yuans, and many transactions today that happen because of the U.S. sanctions are using either yuan or even rubles or euros. And for certain, all of these countries are looking for some currency that can be standard, that can be stable. They all can trust it, and it's not necessarily attached to the US system or the US economy or even European economy. The euro being the euro currency.
Right.
So even Russia now is moving away from Europe because of all that's going on in Ukraine and whatever. So for sure, Russia, China, some countries in Asia, even some countries in Africa and countries in Latin America are looking for a currency to do their sales and exchanges without even touching the US economic system.
Right.
So for sure, crypto is one way to go there. They still haven't found the one that meets all the requirements for everyone. And not only that, remember, usually crypto is based into something, right? So in this case, the oil barrel is a currency in itself, if you think about it. So for sure it will move, something will show up in the next few years.
Right. So you did mention that Venezuela did have this trial. I do remember hearing about that quite some time ago. But could you give me a little bit of an insight as to why it failed or why you think it failed? Because again, we heard about it and then we just stopped hearing about it. So.
Yeah, remember many currencies, even the fiat currencies, the US dollar is supposed to be based in gold. So there's not enough gold in the world to back up the whole.
Well, that was done away with in 1978. They got off the gold standard. So essentially, we're now, it's just a floating fiat, just like any other fiat.
So why the US dollar is supposed to be stable? Because they all trust in the US Department of Finance and the stability of the US government. So the moment the US government is not stable or does, I don't know, everybody keeps falling asleep or whatever, it can slip into big trouble.
Right.
So what happened in Venezuela was exactly that. They created the petro, it came out, they started to work, they started to trade it into many cryptocurrencies. But what happened is they failed to trust the Venezuela government that is backing the petro, right? Because it wasn't actually really backed on the oil barrel, it was backed on the government. And they even sold gasoline in many gasoline stations when there was lack of gasoline. They were selling it in petros, and they were paying petros and receiving petros. People were receiving petros for, doing this gasoline thing.
Right.
But then it started to fall down because nobody trusted the Venezuela government and how they were backing up the actual petro. So eventually it failed, and now even the government stopped using it.
Right.
Then on the same time, some other worldwide things happened, like this bank in Silicon Valley that had a bunch of crypto fail, and there were several things that happened that caused the money not to be, the currency not to be accepted, or lack of trading. If you think about it, depending on the results and everything, it might show up again, maybe not the petro, a different name, but crypto, stable coins and all that seems to be a very good alternative for them to trade around. So any sanctioned countries are using many systems or processes to be around the sanctions, and cryptocurrency is one of them.
Definitely. I definitely see that as well. So I guess now I would ask you, so what is your feelings on crypto in general? Do you actually hold any crypto? Do you buy, invest in crypto?
Oh, that's a very, very good question. I do hold some cryptos. I tried the new one that is coming out, the WorldCoin.
WorldCoin, yes.
But it happened, the problem I have with any trading is whenever I need to trade, it freaking falls down. So I got the WorldCoin crypto 5 days ago, and now it's like 50% less from what I got it, 5 days ago.
Yeah.
So I hate them, man. So anyway, besides that, is the fluctuation. The Bitcoin is behaving a lot different. It's true. Ethereum is doing many things properly, right? And then you have a bunch of other cryptos that are funny or at least they are fun to watch, things to do. You know, I have a friend who's working in Trust Wallet, so he always sends me messages like, try this, try it now. So I got one called Hamster whatever, Hamster Combat. So I went in and there's this hamster giving news and blah, 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 all that. I said, what the heck? So, oh, you have to follow it because they're gonna give away some crypto. They're gonna do this. So the industry is really going through many hips to attract people, particularly young people. And I don't know, it's very interesting. The technology they are developing, I mean, things like, as I just mentioned, NFT, Ethereum, Web 3.0, then the exchanging things like Lightning, and there's another one that goes very fast and they lower the cost. Yeah, that technology for sure is very interesting. The Bitcoin fluctuations and the other currency fluctuations, I don't know. So, as I said, you know, I got more coins, and 5 days later, it worth 50% less. So, Jesus.
Right. Well, I have a lot of strong opinions about WorldCoin, but I'm not going to get into that right now. And may I suggest an amazing channel called Reina's the Crypto, just in case you're ever interested in learning or
yes, for sure. I get the notifications every time.
Okay, good stuff. So what do you think about Colombia and its ability to adopt crypto? Do you see it heading in the right direction with Pedro as the new head of the state here?
Well, that question is complex, and it's complex to answer. First of all, anything that I say now would be my personal opinion, following up. Second, it's complex because Petro is one thing, the Congress trying to pass on laws to control or to regulate crypto is the other thing. You know, tax department is following some very big crypto transactions that are happening in Colombia. And remember, there's another industry that brings and loves crypto to their own transactions, which is the drug industry. So, you know,
I guess we could debate that, but continue.
Yeah, so money laundering is one thing that government is concerned with, and for sure they're going to regulate at some point. I'm not sure that Petro in power necessarily is bad or good. He's just going with the flow. Now the Congress is certainly looking at that. There are projects to regulate, and then the financial system to sustain their stability and to be as inserted as they are into the U.S. economic system, they need to certainly regulate. So if things like the Fed are going to issue a regulation, most probably Colombia is going to be looking at them very closely and maybe eventually regulating either similarly or the same regulation as the Fed will issue eventually for crypto. So
apparently, the Fed in the United States.
Yes, the U.S. Fed. But Colombia is moving a lot of crypto, right?
Well, moving a lot of crypto and adopting might be two different things. And I think that if you take a look at what the Fed's been doing, or the government of the United States, it's been basically regulating through enforcement as opposed to actually regulating through providing clear rules. And with that said, if you just think about, again, Colombia, sometimes it could be synonymous with drugs and moving a lot of drugs around the world. But ultimately, traditionally, it's been the U.S. dollar has been the thing that people utilize to move money around. And ultimately, blockchain, as you mentioned in your first response, with regards to providing a very clear ledger as to the transactions that happen that are there forever, I would say, in my opinion, if I was a drug dealer, the last thing I would want to do is move money around the blockchain as to where it can be tracked at any time, as opposed to a bag full of $100 bills. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Besides the origin of the money, there are transactions, you know, like with the USD stable coins that are happening big time in Colombia. You know, exchanging like cash versus crypto stable coins and all that. And assume all of them are legal, still there are, you know, considerable transactions going on. So I don't believe anything is going to really stop it. All of those are going to continue to happen, happening.
Right.
Colombia will regulate. I have no doubt on that. What's the shape of the regulation? I'm not sure, because it might change based on several other governments that will regulate the cryptocurrency.
Mm-hmm.
Does that have any particular relations to the president? I don't see it happening, because it's just a thing from the financial system in Colombia needs to happen. So, but that's my personal opinion, right? On the side, Petros love to talk about things, so eventually they would be there. But the regulation, it would be just a naturally happening event.
Okay. So let's pivot to Bukele over there in South America. Sorry, El Salvador. What do you think about his adoption of Bitcoin and making that legal tender?
That's a very good question, and again, it's my personal opinion from the outside, as an outsider, as a foreigner. It's very interesting what he's doing, turning around the country.
Mm-hmm.
Stabilizing a financial system should be a priority, and there are many things that will float around when that particular country is stable economically. So he has managed to do that by accepting crypto as a legal currency there. Plus, a few things that he has done inside the country to guarantee and make sure that investment comes into the country. It's a smaller country than Colombia, where we're at, and some other countries. So smaller sometimes makes a bit easier.
Maybe a little advantage,
yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, it's not really it's not really a political opinion. It's just my perceptions from abroad. Stabilizing the financial system is good.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, I would tend to agree with you. All right. So is there anything else you'd like to share with us with regards to crypto, blockchain, or NFTs that you think that you see coming, or you see in the past?
I think the technology keeps evolving.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody keeps looking for ways to move money around, regulated, in good regulations, to decrease cost for any transaction, and that will certainly affect the oil business that has huge transactions, and every penny that you reduce on a barrel or in any transaction will have a very big effect into the whole industry transactions. So for sure, and oil is big enough to take new technology and to continue fueling these. On one side, the financial transactions, but also on the other side, it will come the transition, the famous energy transition. And the energy transition into renewables or green sources or whatever won't happen unless oil continues making money and fueling this transition.
Exactly. Fortunately or unfortunately. All right. So once again, if somebody wanted to reach out to you and get in touch with you, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, please go ahead and share my phone number, and then also my email, which is my phone number would be +57 318 343 7821. Okay. And my email will be at rcuervo1@latinaenergy.com.co.
Perfect. Okay. All right, great. Well, thanks again for taking the time to sit down with me. I really do appreciate that, for coming back. And I'd like to make sure anybody who's watching this video, please like and subscribe to the video so that we can get more views and eyeballs on interesting people like Ricardo here.
Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure always.